Is 67 really still the retirement age in Australia, or is that about to change on you right when you're getting close to it? If you've been scrolling through social media lately, you've probably seen posts claiming the pension age is jumping to 68 or even 69. Some of them look official. Some of them even quote government sources. So today, we're cutting through all of that noise and giving you the real verified answer straight from Services Australia and the latest 2026 policy updates. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what age you can apply, what the payment rates are right now, and what to actually watch out for so you don't get caught off guard. Welcome back to Australia Pension and Centrelink Update, the channel where we break down everything happening with your age pension, your Centrelink payments and your retirement planning in plain English, with no confusion and no scare tactics. If this is your first time here, consider hitting that subscribe button because we post regular updates every time something changes with pension rates, eligibility rules or Centrelink policy, and trust me, this year there's a lot to keep track of. Now let's get into it. So let's answer the big question first, right up front, no dragging it out. Is 67 still the age pension age in Australia in 2026? Yes, it is. As of today, the age pension qualifying age is 67 years old, and that applies equally to every Australian men and women born on or after the 1st of January 1957. There has been no change to this. There is no new legislation increasing it. And despite what you might have seen floating around online, there is no confirmed plan to push it up to 68 or 69 or any other number in the near future. Now, I want to explain why there's so much confusion about this, because it's actually a really reasonable thing to be confused about if you only skim headlines. Australia didn't always have a pension age of 67. For a long time, going back decades, it was 65. Then, starting in 2017, the government began gradually lifting it in small 6-monthly increments based on your date of birth. So if you were born a little bit later, your qualifying age was a little bit higher than someone born earlier. This gradual increase continued year after year until it finally reached 67 on the 1st of July 2023. And since that date, it has been locked in at 67. That process is complete. It's done. There's no more staged increase happening in the background that's going to sneak up on you. So when you see a post online claiming the pension age is rising to 69 in 2026, that's simply not true. And Services Australia has publicly and directly clarified that these kinds of claims are incorrect. There was a number of years back a proposal from an earlier government to eventually raise the pension age all the way to 70. That proposal was seriously considered at one point, but it was rejected and abandoned back in 2018, and it has not been revived since. So if you've been worrying that you might have to work an extra 2 or 3 years longer than you planned, you can relax on that front, at least based on everything we currently know and everything that's actually been legislated. Let's talk about what actually changed in 2026, because something did change, just not the age. What changed is the payment rate. Age pension payments are indexed twice a year in March and in September to help keep pace with the cost of living. And from the 20th of March 2026, the maximum age pension increased. If you're single, the maximum full pension is now $1,200.90 per fortnight, which works out to a bit over $31,000 a year. If you're part of a couple, the combined maximum rate is $1,810.40 per fortnight, or around $47,000 a year between the two of you. Those numbers include the base rate plus the pension supplement and the energy supplement, all rolled together. So while the age you qualify at hasn't budged, the amount you could actually receive has gone up a little, which is at least some good news if you're relying on this payment to get by. Now, here's something a lot of people get mixed up, and I want to clear this up clearly because it trips up a huge number of Australians every single year. The age pension age and your superannuation preservation age are two completely different things. Your super preservation age, the age at which you can start accessing your own superannuation savings, is currently 60 for anyone born after mid-1964. But accessing your super doesn't mean you automatically get the age pension. Those are two separate systems run separately with separate rules. This creates what a lot of financial planners call the retirement gap, that stretch of years between when you can first touch your own super at 60 and when you become eligible for the government age pension at 67. That's a 7-year difference. And a lot of the online confusion about pension ages actually comes from people mixing up these two different numbers. So if someone tells you the retirement age is 60, they're talking about super access, not the age pension. If someone tells you it's 67, that's the age pension we're talking about today. Let's go through exactly what you need to qualify for the age pension at 67, because turning 67 on its own doesn't automatically hand you the payment. There are 3 main boxes you need to tick. First, the age requirement, which as we've covered is 67. Second, residency. You generally need to be an Australian citizen or an eligible permanent resident, and you need to have lived in Australia for a total of at least 10 years, with at least 5 of those years being continuous without a break. There are some exceptions to this residency rule, for example, for refugees or under certain international social security agreements. So if your situation is a bit unusual, it's worth checking directly with Centrelink rather than assuming you don't qualify. And third, the means test, which covers both your income and your assets. Centrelink looks at how much income you're earning and how much you own in things like savings, investments and property other than your primary home to work out whether you get the full pension, a reduced part pension or no pension at all if you're above the upper thresholds. This means test is honestly where most of the real complexity lives, way more than the age question. 2 people can both be 67, both perfectly eligible on paper, and end up receiving very different amounts purely because of what they own and what they earn. So if you're getting close to pension age, it's genuinely worth sitting down, either with a financial advisor or using the calculators on the Services Australia website to understand roughly where you'll land under the income and assets tests well before you actually apply. That way, there are no surprises. I also want to address something directly because I know a lot of you are asking this in the comments on our other videos. Why does this misinformation about a rising pension age keep circulating? Part of it is old news getting recycled and reposted without dates, so people see a headline about a proposed increase from years ago and assume it's happening now. Part of it is clickbait, because uncertainty and fear around retirement gets more clicks and more views than a calm, boring, accurate answer. And part of it is genuine confusion between different systems, like we just talked about with super preservation age versus pension age. Our advice always is to go back to the source. Check Services Australia directly or come here where we track these updates specifically so you don't have to dig through it yourself. So, to bring it all together, is 67 still the age pension age in Australia in 2026? Yes, confirmed, locked in, no changes. That reached its final level back on the 1st of July 2023 after a gradual increase from 65 that played out over several years. There is currently no legislation, no bill before Parliament and no announced government plan to raise it any further, whether that's to 68, 69 or 70. What has changed for 2026 is simply the payment rate, which increased with the March indexation, along with adjustments to the income and asset test thresholds, which can actually work out in your favour if you're a part pensioner, because it may mean you qualify for a slightly higher payment than before, even without your circumstances changing. If you're within a few years of turning 67, my honest recommendation is this. Don't wait until your birthday to start thinking about your application. Start checking your eligibility under the residency and means tests now, gather your documents and consider setting up a MyGov account linked to Centrelink if you haven't already, because that's how you'll actually submit your claim when the time comes. Getting organised early makes the whole process far less stressful. Now, before you go, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more Australians who are trying to plan their retirement properly instead of relying on rumours from random social media posts. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Australia Pension and Centrelink Update and turn on notifications, because we cover every single indexation update, every policy change and every new Centrelink rule as soon as it's confirmed. Drop a comment below and let us know, are you currently receiving the age pension, getting close to it, or still a fair way off? I read through the comments and I try to answer as many of your questions as I can. Thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and we'll see you in the next one.